Kate feels like shit. She couldn't sleep.
I don't know. I just woke up at, I think, 12:30 with a sort of everything tense.
We've done so much work on the film that our heads are spinning. Maybe we should skip the film today and do some gossiping instead.
No, I feel reticence to do that when we've been working so well.
But Kate, you don't know what you are missing. I've bookmarked fascinating things. There's a video featuring Milo Yiannopoulos in a puffy jacket.
It doesn't matter if you agree with the literal truth of Christianity or not. The founders did, and they made a country for people who did. And if you don't agree with that, or you don't like God, or you don't see why too much freedom is leading us all to hate and kill each other, and you don't appreciate that we should not only restore Christianity in culture, but require it in public life, you should go to Canada. You should go somewhere else where there's a moral architecture built into the law. But here, it doesn't work without God. And when you don't have him, when instead people replace prayer and the rituals of the church with antidepressants, with compound interest, with games and drink and drugs and fornication, kind of thing he does with his wife, you know, offering her around town like she's common property. America doesn't work when we behave that way, because we'll all just end up murdering each other.
Jesus. He's high. Also. He also has fillers, I think. He looks very different.
Are you interested in it?
Well, it is interesting as a phenomenon. I mean, he was really sharp, right? At some point. When he also had a kind of strange humility because he was this British guy in America, and he was like the more intelligent, more cultural, more perverse advocate of a new right-wing culture in America. And now it's gone all soggy. He knows this. He just keeps going nonetheless, and he's managing his own decline in an artistic manner. He's integrating that into the performance. He's not giving one rational argument. It's very pure. And you really want to look at it in an anthropological way. So like seeing all the people involved in creating this new landscape where you have Teal with his apocalypse and his sort of nerdy determination, and then you have Milo with his who's become soggy and who knows it and who embraces it, and who is the perversion himself. And then you have Charlie Kirk and all the, the straight Christians.
What do you say to the people who say it's all performative? There's no real power behind this Christian resurrection.
Yeah, but there is a sort of a wayward feel to this Christian moment that we're seeing now. Like it feels like a projectile has come loose and it's spinning, because it's not clear what is hitting. Like, who is being affected by this? We don't know at this point.
This was also interesting to me. On Khachiyan about J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance, isn't everyone's cup of tea because he's unironic and uncool, which gives people the ick because it reminds them of their own former weakness and vulnerability that they've gone to great lengths to bury. Trump doesn't have this problem, and even people who don't like him can admit he's naturally funny and cool. So he should just be himself and try not to react or pander to the online cool kids, and take heart in the fact that the future of society comes down to people with a long, moral vision, not trickers, trolls or memesters, who history will leave in the dust because they don't respect themselves above all else.
Jesus Christ. Yeah. To sort of reduce the power of the trickster to an online presence is sort of ridiculous. You have no... Isn't Trump the trickster in this whole game? Like, isn't he the one soaring above it all at the cost of everyone else? And we don't know what will happen afterwards, so... It's also like a mother tucking in her son or saying, oh, well, you have to wear a scarf when you go outside. Like, this Russian little old lady talking now. She feels like this kind of endearment for the uncool J.D. Vance. But J.D. Vance is not just uncool, he's also untethered. He's not grounded. That's what people sense. So behind the uncoolness is not some grounded founding father. There's an emptiness there. That's the problem with J.D. Vance. There's nothing that you can add to him or to make him feel warm and fuzzy and moral inside or something. Well, I think Anna Khachiyan sees something. She sees it's true. I mean, he's recognized that he's not cool, that this is not his forte. And so he has resigned to some other contrivance, which is like the opposite of cool, but kind of centered, conservative. But people are good at spotting liars. You can just see just that from the timing, from like maybe it's a little bit easier to be like a boring, grounded type, like to act a boring, grounded type, than it is to act a charming type if you're not actually a charming type. But still, it's not, and he's not entirely capable of pulling off that act. And that's what people sense. They don't. It's not because he's not cool. It's because he's contrived, even in his boringness. There's no virtue in lauding J.D. Vance for his groundedness when he's not. To lie to yourself in the way that I think Anna Khachiyan does, where she probably recognizes this emptiness a little bit somewhere. But I think she's not empty. For her, it's like this immigrant trauma where you never feel quite... You're not actually empty, but you feel empty because other people cannot understand what your culture is. And so you're having to adjust for other people in order to... She has to do this, like, this is Tarek Sadouma's term, but she has to auto-orientalize herself in the form of Red Scare in order for Americans to understand where she's coming from. But in doing so, she also loses some authenticity because she is not... It doesn't converge really with the way her life feels when she's at home. The way she feels about herself. And I think we don't have this problem as much because there's no shame in admitting that our lives in the films are not the same as our real lives where we are making these films. It's just that sometimes I wish people... I want to sort of show people that, yeah, my life is also... It consists of taking care of children. And that is what I do lovingly. Because I don't want people to attack that part of my life. I want to protect that part. Also by showing it so that people know that is a safe space in a way. For my children. Like a nest.
So you mean that Anna's life, according to her, should be the same as what she creates?
There was always this pessimism regarding her own abilities to create something, to create culture.
To write a PhD or
to do anything of value. So the tendency to convert that pessimism into herding. It was always there. This is how you should look at it. There's a more positive way of looking at it, which is not actually positive, but cynical.
You see her as a cynical person.
In the Sloterdijk sense, yeah. in the estimation of your own ability, which is not very high, then turns into cynicism. So if you have a very high estimation of your own abilities, then you're also cheerful, and your tendency will be to admire others when you see capabilities, and maybe to overestimate, or at least to be on the superfluous side of erring when you're looking at the world. Where if your estimation of your own capabilities is sort of small, and maybe smaller than they really are, because you're insecure for whatever reason, everything you say, you're measuring in little cups. And, oh, should we say that JD Vance is not worthy of his position, or should we put a little scarf around his neck and make him fuzzy? This is then the kind of cynical dissemination that you're doing of reality. Incremental little steps in moving other people's windows on reality, or not actually moving them, but affirming them, and so on a very humble level.
Maybe she wants to talk about Nick Land. Maybe that would cheer her up. We talked about it the other day. Nick Land is an important philosopher in the world we are researching for our films. He's not a Christian, but like Christians, he looks beyond this life to something higher. He dreams of an inhuman future. He welcomes technology like a Christian welcomes the apocalypse. We are in garbage time, the last phase where man still clings to the illusion of control. Humanism is finished. Soon machines will rise from our remains, dragging us into a future where nothing human makes it out of the near future. For now, technology still wears human features, but only as a symptom of its immaturity.
I don't know, I think the reason that we talked about Nick Land is because he is symptomatic for this tendency of people to start swooning in the face of change. So, if we don't surrender ourselves to this new horizon, then we are pitiful, or then we are superstitious, and we have to now make sacrifices to this change, and we have to sacrifice ourselves, and so on.
Kate reads a text on her computer. She remembers how I stormed into the studio, irritated and hysterical. I am the reason C is now full of tension. She wants to go home. We will continue tomorrow. She asks me if I can stay away for a few days so she can detox from me.
Okay, I think I'm just you just filled me with a kind of anxious, turbulent, Dionysian force, and I am now mirroring it to you. It is not even literally the practical things that I'm saying, but I'm just completely annoyed, and I cannot explain why. Okay?
Okay. Let's quit it for today.